Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to the webinar we've got planned for you this morning. This morning's webinar is detailing how to gain spatial data access for the enterprise for FME Server. So basically what we're going to do is give you a quick overview of FME Server and the product, and how the FME Server product fits within the product of the FME family. My name is Stuart Harper and I'm the FME Server Support Manager here at Safe Software. Many of you have probably interacted with me already. Day to day I do things like I do support, I do training, I do webinars, and I also help build the demos that drive FME Server. And I'm also joined here today by Steve McCabe.
Good morning everyone. I work along with Stuart as the Product Support Specialist, and I'm involved with support here at Safe, helping out with webinars, a bit of training on the road, online, and some pre-sales work as well.
We've also got Aaron Koning here today on Q&A support. So throughout the GoToWebinar, we encourage you to ask questions, give us feedback. On the right-hand panel, you should see a questions kind of panel where you can just type in and answer questions. Aaron is the FME Server Product Manager here at Safe Software. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the entire company about FME Server. So, you know, you've got him there. I bet he can answer almost any question you throw at him. I'll lay that down for him there. If he can't answer a question, we will get back to you as well. So feel free to ask anything you would like. Okay, so I'll just quickly give you an introduction as to what we're all about here at Safe Software. I'm kind of doing this presentation as if you're not that familiar with either the company or the product, so it's kind of a very beginner introduction to FME and FME Server. Safe Software is a private company. It was founded in 1993 by Don Murray and Dale Lutz. They still own the company now. We're up to around 95 employees, and we are headquartered just outside Vancouver in BC in Canada. We actually sell our software direct to customers, but we also sell software via a series of value-added resellers. So anyone who's in Europe or indeed in North America, you may deal with us directly, or you can also deal with resellers to gain support and to access the product. And we have thousands of customers across all over the world basically now, on every continent.
All right, so it looks like we got our first poll question. I'm just going to fire that up here.
So we have a series of poll questions throughout the day, throughout the webinar, and we're going to basically prompt for your input.
Are you seeing that, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay. Great, so we'll just give you a few more seconds to answer that, and then we'll close it out and show you the results.
So we just want to know how many have used FME Server before, or even heard of it. We can kind of tailor the pitch based upon how many of you have been using it. So,
all right, we got about 80% there returned, so I'm going to close that poll. Thanks everyone for voting. Now I'll share that. So there's the results.
So that's good. About 70 have used it before. So
no, the other way around.
Oh, have you ever used it? Okay, sorry. So 70 have never used it. Okay, that's good. You're in the right spot. Then we're going to take you through what FME servers are all about and give you a good introduction. So the first thing is let's get the housekeeping out of the way. We do have an online FME server course from November the 17th to the 18th. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That will be me doing that as well. It's a great introductory course. We go into a bit more detail. We don't really go into the administrative side. I just give you kind of the theory behind the product, the services behind the product. So it's a great course to give you an overview of the product. We do recommend a bit of prior FME experience in terms of Workbench, but if you're a quick learner, you don't need to know too much. We can get through that. And we're actually going to give 23 spots away at the end of this webinar to get on that FME Server authoring course. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so let's now get into the real details. What have we got planned for you today? So the first thing I'm going to go through is I'm going to give you an overview of the FME technology. So I want to look at both desktop and server. Desktop is important, and you'll see later why, but basically the technology that drives FME Server is based on the desktop technology. So you need to have a good grasp of the desktop technology, and then you apply that to server. I'm then going to look into, why FME Server, what problems, what business problems does FME Server solve for you guys. So this is kind of a bit of a higher level. We go through some few high-level scenarios that FME Server helps you solve. I then dive into the capabilities of the product, and we're really going to look at these 4 capabilities. I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to show you some live websites and demos that kind of showcase these capabilities. So as well as that, it's going to be interspersed with some polls and some interactive stuff as well.
All right, so we got our next question coming up here. I'm going to launch it. What is your role in your organization? So we got a few options there, so hopefully we've covered most of our audience. So I'll give you a few seconds to vote. Thanks everyone for taking the time to vote too. We really appreciate the information you're providing us. All right, just a little bit longer. Okay, that's great. I'm going to close that poll in a few seconds here. Thanks everyone for voting again. Okay, now I'll share those results. We've got a good spread, but predominantly a lot of GIS analysts or technicians.
That's good, okay. So good technical people in here.
Yeah, great.
A few spatial data managers as well, so hopefully the next section will be good for those guys.
All right, so we'll hide that. Stuart, back to you.
Okay, so what is our FME technology all about, and what does it enable you to do? This is kind of our new tagline for this year, and what we want to do, what we want to enable you to do with the FME technology is enable you to achieve total spatial data mastery. So we want to give you complete control over what you do and the tasks that you're going to perform on your spatial data. So let's have a quick look at how we can do that. I'm going to give you a brief overview of FME's technological capabilities. So this isn't just tied to server, this is desktop and server. They're in the same family, they share the same core technology, and that's really important. So for those that have not used Workbench before, or FME Desktop, you can use FME Desktop to convert spatial data between hundreds of different formats. So we support over 250 formats, I think now. We just added point cloud this year as well. So you can translate data between many of those formats. So here on the left, we've got an example of a few kind of groups of formats. We've got CAD, GIS, raster, BIM, 3D, spatial databases, point cloud, and our web formats there as well. So it's hugely powerful at moving spatial data between these different formats. The next thing, which is also hugely important, is the product allows you to transform spatial data into the precise data model that you need. So what this means is the product allows you to manipulate the geometries and the attributes so you can massage the data and get the data into the exact structure that you're looking for. And this is actually really critical because if you look at the stats for our product, the most popular translation is actually shape to shape. So people are actually using the transform capabilities of the product extensively. The next thing it enables you to do, the product enables you to integrate multiple different data sets into one single data model. So let's say you have data in Oracle Spatial, maybe in a file format such as CAD, and maybe you have some GIS data as well in SDE. FME allows you to pull that data into one single workflow, into one single data model in a very, very seamless process. So integration and integrating your different data models is very, very important too. And then the last one is where FME Server really kicks in. So FME Server builds on convert, transform, and integrate, and it allows you to share the spatial data with the people exactly when, where, and how they need it. And we'll explore that a bit in a second. So now we're going to go and look at FME Server, and we're going to kind of take a bit more of a deep dive into what the product offers at a high level. So FME Server is basically a scalable data transformation platform that enables spatial data managers to quickly meet diverse data access requirements. So what that means is the platform offers you very flexible spatial data services that can help you validate, load and share large volumes of data. And the really crucial thing is that what we're trying to allow you to do is allow people to access the data when, where and how they need it. So it doesn't have to be on your terms, it can be on the end user's terms when they access the data. So we're going to explore now some of the more specific features of the product. I've already kind of mentioned this, but it is really important. FME Desktop, FME Server uses the same FME engine that powers FME Desktop. So if you're an FME Desktop user, you don't have to kind of, we're not reinventing the wheel. You use the desktop technology that you're already comfortable with, and that interacts directly with FME Server, and we'll see how you do that more in a second. The next thing that the product enables you to do is transform and share spatial data via web services. So FME Server ships with a series of web services. These web services are data distribution, so data streaming, then we have some OGC web services, WMS and WFS, we have a KML network link web service, and then we also have a job submitter service as well. And what the key thing about these services is what you basically do is you take your workflow that you author in Workbench, you register it with these services, and instantly you've taken your desktop workflow and you've now enabled that workflow through a service. So it literally takes you 10 seconds to get a workspace or workflow up and running with a specific service. And what those services then allow the end user to do is to interact with your workflows through a web browser. So for example, the data distribution, which we'll show you in a minute, allows you to request the data back in a zip file. So the user asks for the data in a specific format, for a specific area, and they get the data back exactly in the format they want, zipped up to them and returned to them. We'll explore the web services in more detail. The next kind of focus of the product is it allows you to efficiently exchange data on demand across the widest range of formats. So the key term here is on demand. FME Server allows the end user to interact with effectively your live data sets. So you can give them, it's on their terms. No human has to be involved. Through the web service, they can interact with your data and your silos of information very, very efficiently just through a web browser or through a web application that you develop. And then the final one is, because of the flexibility of the product, you can deliver up-to-date spatial data exactly how it's needed. And I think the key term there is exactly, but also the key term is up-to-date. FME Server is interacting with your data sets in real time. Every time a translation runs, the data is pulled from your data sets in real time and delivered to the user. And we'll see the benefits that brings later, because we have a lot of power there in terms of asset management and tracking and such things.
All right, so before we get into the meat of the presentation here, we have another poll question. What functionality of FME Server interests you? So we've got a few options there for you to have a look at. So we're going to give you a little bit of time to vote on those. See, we're getting a few responses in there now. So a lot of you may change your mind on what these interests might be towards the end of the presentation once you've seen a little bit more about what FME Server can provide you. So, all right, so we're just going to give you a few more seconds there.
So I guess interesting results here.
Yeah, thanks everyone for voting so far. Okay, so I'm going to close that now. Thanks again, everybody. All right, now, Stuart, I'm going to share those up for you there to have a little discussion on.
Okay, so that's, yeah, so the most popular one's data access and distribution. So that's interesting. That's the first thing we're going to dive into, and it's kind of a large focus of this presentation, so that's pretty handy. Upload and transformation, we're going to cover that as well. That's an interesting one. But it's quite interesting how many people are using it for high volume data transformation. We're interested in that. So we will also touch on that as well. So that's great. So let's see if those change at the end. We'll give you the same question at the end, and we'll see if I've made you change your mind on anything there. Okay, so I just want to give you a kind of quick overview of some of the people that are using FME Server. This is quite a North American-centric slide. If you're there over in Europe, obviously it is used extensively in Europe as well. But basically what I want to say about this is FME Server is used across a huge number of different verticals, from state, federal, local government, oil and gas, utilities, you name it, pretty much every vertical, someone's using FME Server. So, you know, it's very, very flexible, it's very reliable, and it's proven technology. It's not, the product's been around for a number of years now. It's definitely enterprise software. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, actually later on, the City of Surrey example, they've actually got a live website that you can go to and we can go to, and I'll show you how they're utilizing the FME Server technology. So let's kind of dive into why FME Server now. So why as a company would you want to invest and buy FME Server? So there's a number of different capabilities that the product offers, and I want to try and kind of do this at a higher level rather than a technical level. But the first point is, if you have a huge amount of data or data in different silos and you want to distribute that data or metadata to your team, your manager, your organization, contractors, or like many people do, even to the general public. So the scenario would be, let's say you have a corporate ArcSDE database, and you have all your feature classes in there, hundreds of different feature classes, and you want to enable people, whether it be your organization or the general public, to access that data in an intuitive way. So at the moment, maybe you have a GIS tech or someone who, can take phone calls, take email requests to distribute the data out to who they want it. With FME Server, we allow you to do that completely automated, but also in a highly flexible way, so they can get the data in the format they want, in the coordinate system projection they want, the exact layers that they want, for the geographic location that they want. So it's extremely powerful at delivering the data in the format exactly how, when, where they need it. Okay, so that's kind of the distribute capability, and we'll dive into that more later. The next kind of capability is enabling you to access live data, or data that's updated constantly. So we're kind of living in this world now where, data is becoming, data's coming in from all streams. We've got our mobile devices now, and often we want to present that information in near real time. So let's again say you have this time maybe an Oracle Spatial database that's been accessed in real time and updated in real time by maybe a tablet device, someone's out in the field. If you need to make this available to key decision makers or general public again, or your people in your organization, it's very, very easy to do that with FME Server. And it's not tied to format either. You can say, I want to show this information in a PDF, in a KML file, in Google Earth, in ArcGIS, on a website. The flexibility that FME Server offers allows you to present that live data in a number of ways. And we'll see one of those ways later. The next use case, which is actually growing in popularity and strength, I'd say, we didn't really even, a few years ago this wasn't really even on the map, is data upload and validation. So again, let's say we have your corporate database and you want to allow people to upload data into that corporate database. Maybe they're surveying somewhere out in the field, or they're collecting data somehow. At the moment, maybe they email the data in, or they come back to the office. They have to tidy up the data, perform QA/QC on the data, and then upload that data, maybe using a GIS tech, into the database. With FME Server, you actually can do this via a web service. So you can build a workflow that allows the user to upload their data in the field via a web browser or a web application. The data is uploaded via FME Server, and before it's uploaded into your corporate database, you can define a huge number of rules to validate the data. So, is the geometry valid? Do the attributes match your data model? Basically, you don't want to put something in your corporate database unless you're very comfortable that it adheres to a number of validation checks. So the FME Server product allows you to allow the end user, the person with the data, to very, very quickly upload data of any format into your corporate database via a series of QA/QC checks. The final use case, which a few of you mentioned you're interested in, is for those people currently using desktop, or even if you're using other products from other vendors, to do a lot of spatial data transformation. Let's say you're running a lot of workspaces, maybe you're running them every night, maybe they're taking many hours to run. If you push this to FME Server, there's a number of tools built into FME Server that allows you to very, very easily manage and also scale these tasks. So we have things like a scheduler built in, we have job management built in, we have failover built in, and we can scale the product to do multiple transformation tasks simultaneously. So they're really important for all those things. Make it much, much easier and much, much simpler for you as a manager of the data or the transformation task to handle your workspaces and your workflows. Okay, so that's kind of an introduction as to why you would want to use FME Server at the high level. What I'm going to briefly dive into now is the interaction between FME Workbench and FME Server. So this is a kind of a screenshot for those that have not seen it before of FME Workbench. So on the left here in the red, we have the extracts. So this is where you're going to pull in your data from your file base to your spatial database, whatever format you have your data in, of 250 formats. In the middle here, you build your transformation. So this is where you're going to do things like buffering, removing attributes, removing self-intersections from your geometry. All these transformation tasks that allow you to manipulate both the geometry and the attributes on the data. And then the blue box on the right here is the load. So that's the load into your destination data set. So it doesn't have to be the same as your source data set. You can load into any of the formats that FME supports. So this is what it actually looks like in the actual product. So this on the left here is reading in from Oracle. Then we have a series of blue transformers here, they're called, that manipulate the data. And then we write the data out here on the right-hand side. So for those of you who haven't seen Workbench, a very quick overview there just to give you a flavor. But if those of you have, they probably know what I'm talking about. But the critical thing is here is when you're using FME Server, you're going to do exactly the same as before. You're going to build your workflow in this product, in FME Desktop, in Workbench, this product's called. And then simply all you're going to do is you're going to go File, Publish to FME Server. And you're going to publish that workflow up to FME Server. And I won't do it now, but this workflow here takes a matter of seconds to push this workflow up to FME Server. And then once workflow is up on FME Server, then you can interact with that workflow through all the services that we ship with. So we actually, what we call this is, we say FME is in spatial ETL tools. So that's extract, transform, and load. Okay. So this is kind of a visual representation of an organization that adopts FME Server. So at the moment, you're all sat at your individual workstations, and you are authoring workflows in the desktop, and you're running those workflows locally, and you're getting great results. You clean up your data, you're moving your data around, do whatever you need to do, but you're doing it locally. So if we then bring FME Server into the picture, what you do is you publish those workflows up to FME Server, and then you can run and share those data transformation capabilities via FME Server. So what does FME Server bring you? Well, the first thing it brings you is you can scale. So on your own desktop, you can run one job at a time. On FME Server, you can run multiple jobs. You then have all the things that come with an enterprise product, failover, security, there's the admin tasks, like you can schedule the jobs, things like that. But the real key comes when you want to take these data transformation tasks and share them. So this is where FME Server really comes into its strength. So this is anyone. This is the public, your organization, your mum, anyone who wants to access and interact with your data sets. And they've just got a web browser, they've got nothing installed. They've got Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, whatever you want, and they have no prerequisites installed. They can interact with your workflows. And so that's done by the services, which we'll go into more detail in a second now. Okay. And the other key thing is maintainability. Once you publish your workflows up as a GIS author, you can very quickly push and update those workflows that are on the FME Server. So it's a very, very usable product. Okay, so now let's dive into the capabilities a bit more and see how FME Server can meet your specific needs. So we have kind of 4 capabilities here. I've got a example, live examples. Some are our own examples, and some are examples that customers have built. So the first one we're going to look at is the data distribution. So the data distribution example that I'm going to look at is provided by the city of Surrey. So we're actually in Surrey. We're just about somewhere around here near Newton. So they were quite early adopters of FME servers, you can imagine. But this data distribution example, and this is live, you probably see the URL there. If not, we can send that to you. But what this allows you to do as an end user, the general public, is access the City of Surrey's spatial database. So you can choose the data set that you want. So let's say I want sanitary, drainage, transportation. You can choose the format that you want. And let's go for shape. And then you can enter your email address. And then the key thing is it also allows you to draw an area of interest. So maybe let's zoom into somewhere around our office, and then we can draw a box and say, I want the data for this area. Okay, and now all I need to do is click download data. The request gets sent off to the server, and it says your data request has been sent to the City of Surrey's data download server queue, and then the link's going to be returned with your data to email. So I'll talk you through this a bit. This example here is not out-of-the-box FME Server, the look and feel. They've basically built a web application, and they've tied the web application into FME Server. So when you click download data there, this web application sends a request to FME Server, and it says, I want the data for this area. I want these data sets, so these layers or feature classes or whatever you want to call it, and I want it in this format, and please email it to stuart.harp@safe.com once you've extracted it. And FME Server takes all these parameters, and using those parameters, it runs the job, and it then returns the data to my email address. The other thing I want to note is at the moment, they're only offering AutoCAD and Shape. You can offer any file-based format here, so I think we support well over probably 50, 60, 70 file-based formats. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but you're not just tied to AutoCAD, KML, I know GeoJSON, GeoSS, tons of file formats out there that you could write out to. And so let's see now. I should have an email coming in soon. So here's my email from the City of Surrey 2 minutes ago. Thank you for requesting GIS data from the City of Surrey. Please click on the data download link below. So I can click on the zip file, download the data, and I'm up and running with the data in the format that I want. We could have added projection as well if we wanted, exactly for the layers we want and for the area of interest that I want. So that's huge. I mean, the user's just got access to that data in less than a minute without any interaction from a human being. Okay. So that's available online. If you want to get the URL, then just chat Aaron, he can send you that. There's many examples of this out there. You don't have to use a map to give the area of interest as well. GeoStore that Arkansas, the state of Arkansas built, they actually just say choose a state or choose an area of interest on a drop-down to generate the bounding box. So it's completely up to you. FME Server is extremely flexible. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is the data streaming service. So the data download service returned that data to the user as a zip file, and it can either be returned to them in the web browser or it can be emailed to them. The data streaming service returns the actual data to the browser. So this is slightly different. So we've got an example here which is taking data from a database. So, you know, pretend you're taking the data from your corporate database and we're streaming the data to PDF. You know, anyone can view a PDF file. You just need Adobe Reader. There's no prerequisites there. So I'm going to show you the example and talk you through how it works. So this is one of our own examples that Aaron actually built, and it's on our FMEpedia website, our new FMEpedia website. I encourage you to go here if you haven't already. We have over 900 articles on here. There's many samples and demos such as this one. We provide the workspace, everything to get you up and running, so there's some great resources on here. This specific example though, if I click Run It Live here, what this does when I click Run It Live is it runs a job on FME Server. So when I click Run It Live, it went back to FME Server, it extracted the data from the corporate database, and then it's going to return the data to me as a PDF. Okay, so what have I extracted from my corporate database? I think we've got SQL Server Spatial running on that, so it's coming out of there. We have a series of layers in that database, bus stops, roads, also hydrography, and so we've actually added these as layers to the map, and you can see that you can interact with these layers. There's bus stops you can click on that take you to the bus stops in Google Maps. So it's a dynamic PDF we've created. The critical thing that I want you to understand from this is the URL that accesses this, so we're getting a bit technical here, but the path, the URL that accesses this, when you click on that URL, it runs the job on FME Server. FME Server builds the builds the PDF dynamically, so it reads the data out of SQL Server Spatial, and it reads the and it writes the PDF. So the critical thing with this is, if I send this out in an email to people, if they look at this email tomorrow, they get the data out of the database as it is tomorrow. If they click on it in 6 months, the job will be run again, and you could have added features, changed the attributes, changed the geometry, and they will that will be reflected in the PDF as well. So it's streaming a live stream of data to the PDF. So this works really well with PDF, it works really well with KML, it works really well with if you want to consume data via a web application. So if you want to stream something like GeoSS or GeoJSON, then you'd want to use a data streaming service. So the other really cool thing I've done for here is it's also done a tile map. So what you can do is this created a clickable map here, and you can click on one of these tiles, and a request goes back to FME Server, and it passes in this tile as a parameter. And so what FME Server does is it says, I'm going to click the data just to this specific tile. And what I get returned back to me is just that tile. So that's a bit more technical. Again, Aaron can provide you the link to that FMEpedia article. If you wish to see how that truly works, we let you download the workspace, all the data, we tell you the requirements. It's all there for you to get up and running. So that's the data streaming service. The next service I'm going to talk about actually now is how to centralize your data transformation. So to do this, I'm going to dive into actually FME Server. So this is the admin area for FME Server. You can see I've got security turned on. And so within this administration area, there's this schedules tab amongst other things. So I'm in FME Server 2012 here actually. But what you can very, very easily do is use Workbench to create your workflow. So you would use Workbench here to create a workflow. Usually those desktop users out there that are almost already familiar with Workbench, to run it, you just click play there and you run the translation. It runs locally on your machine. What you can do is push it up to FME Server, and then once you're on FME Server, you can come to this schedule tab, and you can schedule a job. So you can say, okay, my first schedule, give it a name. You choose the workspace that you've uploaded. So I'll just choose one of the samples that ships with the product. These are the parameters you can set. We don't have to worry about that now. Then you say, when does this job start? So I'm going to say it starts immediately. I want to run it once. You can run it every other day. You can run it every week. Or there's also cron as well. So I'm going to say I'm going to run this every minute. And you can also define when it ends. So I click OK. And now my job is going to run every single minute indefinitely, basically, until I pause it. So what you can do in here is you can set up, 10, 20, 50, 100, however many workspaces you want. You can have some running nightly, you can have some running weekly, you can have some running monthly. You can manage all your transformation processes. And the nice thing about this is number one, you can scale it. So if you want to run a large number of jobs simultaneously, then you can do that on Server. You can add what's called an FME engine, and you can add as many number of engines as you want. Some customers have upwards of 30 engines, which means they can run 30 jobs simultaneously. The other nice thing is there's job management built in as well. So if you submit 50 jobs at once, FME Server handles that. It queues the jobs, it stacks the jobs. You can prioritize jobs. There's a ton of built-in functionality within the product that allows you to completely tailor your data transformation management. So I'll just pause this guy now. Actually, I'll remove this now. Don't want that running on there, so I can remove tasks easy and add them. And that's there in FME 2011 as well. That's not new for 2012. Okay, so that's kind of that's the centralized data transformation routine that some of you are interested in. The last one I want to look at is upload and validation. And we're going to actually do that at the end. What I want to talk about first, because the upload and validation was a slightly more involved example, so I'm going to talk first about integrating FME Server. So earlier you saw the City of Surrey example. So that example, they built their own web application. The web application was their own requirements. It was completely as they wanted. There was no restraints by FME Server, because FME Server has a series of APIs that allow you to very, very seamlessly tie your web application to the product. So the main thing is we have a REST API. And what this actually allows you to do is it gives you complete flexibility when you're developing your web applications. So let me just quickly show you. Some of our users choose to go with the out-of-the-box look and feel. So this is what we ship the product with. You can see the service here, so the data download service. I'll look at the Austin download. This is a workspace I published up there. So it's asking me to authenticate again, it's fine. So some users just kind of customize this out of the box. That's fine, that's great. You can do that very, very quickly. You know, within a matter of hours you could have this up and running, and it can completely tailor to your workflows. The user can run the data transformation process here. You know, they can get the data back within the browser. But a lot of customers want to take it a step further. Maybe they want to build something like this. So this is on FMEpedia as well. Aaron can share the link to you here. This is basically a quick demo that I built that allows you, it shows you how to tie FME Server to every single web mapping framework. So we've got ArcGIS Server, Bing Maps, Google Maps, Google Earth as well, even if you want to tie it to Google Earth. And what it allows you to do is similar to the city of Surrey. You can draw a polygon, so an area of interest. Just refresh the page there. So you should be able to draw a polygon, an area of interest. So this is just over Vancouver, but you could do it for anywhere. You choose your coordinate system. You choose the format that you want, shape. You choose the layers you want to download, and you choose the email results as well. So this is if you want to email it to yourself, you can email it. If you don't have to. And then you click on all the data. So this is tied into FME Server in that the back-end work is going to all be done by FME Server. But my point is as a web developer or an organization, you have complete flexibility as to how you integrate FME Server as a product with web applications. So I click order data there, it sends a request to FME Server, and I instantly get my link back for that exact area. So for those developers out there as well, if you go to FMEpedia, I built an FME Server REST Playground. I won't go into this too much, but I just wanted to make sure you're aware of it for those that are getting started with the product. But this basically is a playground to allow you to get code snippets. These are all tasks that the product does, and you can click on this. You can get code snippets. You can see the examples in real time. So if you want to see that, Aaron will show you where that is as well. Okay, so yeah, so sorry for those people that aren't developers. I just kind of really want to emphasize the flexibility of the product.
All right, so we got another poll question. I've just launched it. What web mapping technology are you interested in using with FME Server? So we've got a few there: Esri, Google or Bing, Autodesk, Intergraph, and others. So take a minute there and please provide some feedback for us.
Yeah, I guess the one I missed out from there is OpenLayers.
That's right, yeah.
No, we can interact with OpenLayers as well. That's no problem.
All right, so we're almost there. We've got a good turnout on this one. So just a few more seconds on that, and then I'll close it. Thanks, everyone, for taking the time at the moment. All right, I'm going to close that now, and we'll share that. And there's
Esri's usually top, is it? Esri, yeah, okay. Okay, so you're all using Esri, that's great. Another great product. Yeah, so I showed you the ArcGIS integration. That was using the JavaScript API as well, but you can integrate FME Server with the ArcGIS Server.net API as well if you'd wish. Using the REST API, it's very, very easy to tie in FME Server with almost any web-based solution.
All right, back to you.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at our final example, which is the upload and validation example. So this is kind of a more involved example. We're going to have a quick look at Workbench. And the scenario is this. You're an organization, let's pretend you're the GIS tech. You're in the office and you've got CAD contractors out in the field. And the CAD contractors are surveying a new housing estate. What do you call them over here?
Subdivisions.
Subdivision, okay. They're surveying a new subdivision, and basically they're going to go out in the field, they're going to survey the subdivision, and rather than come back in the office and then get you to upload the data, we're going to provide a service for them to upload the data dynamically in the field through a web browser. So what we need to check for when they upload the data is we need to validate the CAD data. Is the CAD data valid? We also need to ensure the geometry is valid and the attributes are valid. And if it is valid, we're going to then upload that data, the CAD data, into our Oracle database. And this is all going to be automated. There's no one going to be involved. You as a GIS tech, you built your workflow, but then that's the end of it. You publish it to server. So let's see what we've got at the moment. At the moment, we've got this. These are our layers. So I've got Google Earth here, and if I expand this, there's just basically a water network that that they're out surveying. So they're going to survey a subdivision here in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, so I built a workspace. This is actually the workspace I built, which enables them to upload the data. The data will be validated, and then it will be loaded. If it passed, it will be loaded into Oracle. If it fails, it will be loaded. They won't be able to load it. So I've published this workspace up to FME Server. It's sat now on FME Server. I've done that workflow. So basically what I want to do is I'm going to go to my FME Server, and I'm going to go to the data streaming service. I've registered it with the data streaming service, and I'm going to demos. So what I've enabled the user to do is I've enabled the data upload functionality, which enables them to provide the file as the input. So, okay, I've been surveying, I'm on my tablet device, I've now got my CAD file, and I'm done. I'm done for the day, I'm going to upload my file. So I'm going to go browse, here's my CAD data, I'm going to upload it to FME Server. I'm in a web browser here. This is Firefox, any web browser would work. Here's my data. You can guess what's going to happen since it's got bad in the name. So I'm going to now upload this data. I'm going to attempt to load this data into Oracle. So I've got Oracle running on my FME Server. I'm going to click Run. And the workspace is going to perform QA/QC on the data. And it's going to check to see if, whenever he surveys a piece of water pipe, he has to add a diameter attribute to it. If he doesn't do that, it's invalid. He also, he can't have self-intersecting geometries, and there's a few other things we test for as well. So what the workspace did is when we uploaded it, it checked for the diameter attribute on each feature, and it also checked for invalid geometry. You can see that this actually failed because he had several features with an invalid geometry, and he had several features where he'd forgotten to do the diameter. Again, this is completely flexible. You could check for anything you want within reason. You can check anything on the attributes or the geometry. We've just checked for this in this scenario. This failed. We used the data streaming service. We streamed back a HTML file detailing the failure to the user. So the user now, he's sat in the field just ready to go home, and uh-oh, no he can't yet because these features here have failed. He's forgot to do certain things. So he hasn't had to waste time going to the office. He's going to go back out in the field, and he's then going to go resurvey. So he knows what his errors are. He's now got this new data set. Getting late. He's desperate to go home. He's going to try upload this data set into the database. Click OK. Hit Run. This time we succeed. It passed all the QA/QC, and we loaded it into the Oracle database. Again, we're just giving a very basic error back here, success message back here. You can do whatever you want. So that data's in Oracle now. So we should be able to, I'm going to rerun the workspace here that creates this KML file. So the workspace I just ran is basically pulling the data out of Oracle again, and it's recreating this KML file here. So once it's basically written, what I should be able to do is update this KML file, and if you watch the bottom right corner here, you'll see there, did you see these new water pipes were added? This is what your surveyor just added into your Oracle database. So you've got to imagine they're out in the field and instantly are saying real-time upload and QA/QC of data. You know, this is being done, a WashDOT in America, Washington Department of Transport, they basically did a QA/QC task for their roads infrastructure for the entire state. And they were using FME Server. They had staging database. They had tons of QA/QC processes. So this is a tried and tested workflow. Okay, there, Steve. I think we should wrap things up here just about.
Yeah, we're doing there. We're back on to a question that we asked earlier. We're going to launch that again. So here's what functionality of FME Server interests you now. So again, this is the same one we asked earlier in the presentation before we kind of introduce you guys to FME Server. We'll give you a few seconds longer to respond to that. But
see if I persuaded any of you.
Yes, yes. Quite often we see a few more interests get stronger in the results. So okay, so we'll just give you a few more seconds there to respond to that. Thank you very much. Still growing on our. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Close that. I'm going to share that now with Stuart to point out. So we.
Seems we have even more for the data access and distribution.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, data upload and transformation is growing a bit too.
Right.
So yeah, awesome.
Okay,
Okay, I'll hide that. Back to you, Stuart.
Okay, so I don't really have too much time to go into this, but I just wanted to make a quick mention of 2012. Obviously, we're really excited about it here. We've been working on it for the past year. If you do want to, all I want to really say is if you do want to get up and going with the product quickly, we have a new quick installer for 2012. Sorry, it takes about, what, 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes to install the product. It's literally 3 clicks and everything's laid down. It's a lot simpler than it was last year. We have a few new features, notification server, Active Directory support as well. It is still in beta as the product, but it's pretty stable. And we're going to be launching it in January sometime. So you might want to think about that if you are.
Yeah, we've got several customers out there now that have taken on the beta and they're doing well with it.
So what's next? So today's webinar was recorded. That's going to be up online very soon. So there's actually the one we did from last 6 months, and there's a ton of other webinars up there as well. You can get safe.com/webinars or search for webinars and you'll see all the webinars that we've done. We've just done one on KML, I think raster, anyway.
Yeah, lots of great learning webinars up there as well.
Yeah. So what's next for you guys? So I would encourage you to try a personalized web demo. If you've seen this and thought, oh, I'm still not sure whether my requirements will meet this product, talk to us. We'll do a personalized web demo. We'll discuss your requirements. We'll see how our software can solve your problems. You can try FME Server Live as well. Aaron will show you how to do that if you want to get started with that. There's also an FME Server tutorial which you'll find on FMEpedia. That is really, really important that you do that if you want to get started with the product. It's a great overview that you can just sit down and do on your own. We've also got 2 up-and-coming webinars. Take a look at those. I think one is on XML and SIM, and the other one is exchanging data between CAD and GIS systems. So they're in the next month. The second one's a really good one. It's a great introduction to moving data between CAD and GIS systems.
Yeah.
What you've all been waiting for, though, is to win a training, to win a seat on the online training course, which was on the 18th and 19th of November, I believe.
17th.
Yeah. 17th and
18th. It's 4 hours each day. It will take place in the mornings of those days. So please, if you're interested, check yes. If you're not, then no thanks. We will be doing the draw after the webinar, and you'll be notified via email about the results. So good luck to everyone entering.
Yeah, so just to clarify, you click yes, you've entered.
That's right.
So it's kind of a thank you for listening for listening to me ramble on for an hour. For those that have made it to the end.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we've got most of the votes in, it looks like. I'm going to close that. Thanks, everyone. And we'll be in touch with the winners.
Yep, so we're going to be following up with you guys via an email. We'll send you a link if you want to share this presentation to anyone in your company. There'll be a recording, and we'll also have kind of a few links in there as well for useful information. But
when did you go back?
I think we'll skip that actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, if you've got any questions and answers, then we're going to stay online afterwards, and Aaron's going to take them. We all will actually. So feel free to do that. Fire any question you've got on us, and we'll try and answer it. If not, many thanks for your time. We bring this to a close. You can always contact all of us here, Steve, Aaron, and myself, via support@safe.com, and we'll get back to you. And that goes for if you're evaluating or if you own the product. It doesn't matter. We'll support you. We want to get you up and running. We want to show you the value. So many thanks for your time, and yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you, everyone. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care.